All right. So today with my friend Ernest White II, and Ernest White has scored himself a TV show. Now, Ernest has I've known Ernest for a little while now, and we'll get into it in a little bit. But I just wanted to tell you, this guy has quite the bio, and I'm reading from his bio. Right, it says Ernest White II is a storyteller, explorer, and transformational lifestyle designer who has circumnavigated the globe 6 times. That's pretty impressive. He is the
Thank
executive producer and host of television travel docuseries Fly Brother with Ernest White II, host of the travel and culture focused Fly Brother radio show, and publisher of multicultural travel portal flybrother.net. Ernest's travel writing has been featured in Time Out London, USA Today, Getaway Skylife, Ebony, National Geographic Travelers, Brazil, and Brad's Tajikistan guidebook. I could never
That's
say that
right.
word right. And also at travelchannel.com. He's also nonfiction editor at Panorama, the Journal of Intelligent Travel, and former assistant editor at Time Out Sao Paulo. Ernest has appeared on the Travel Channel television series Destination Showdown and Jamaica, Beard, as well as in the 2013 documentary film Gringo Trails. A Florida native, Ernest has lived in Colombia, Brazil, South Africa, and Germany, and now calls San Francisco his home. Please welcome my friend Ernest White II to the show.
Yay!
All right. I guess I need to have some music and stuff, right?
Yes, or at
So,
least an audience track.
I know, right? Exactly. So I'm going to have to insert that. Tell me, Ernest, how did this show come about? I mean, how did you come up with the idea? I mean, what happened here?
So I had a travel blog that was kind of popular for a little while during the
Okay.
height of blog in the the late 2000s, and it was called Fly Brother. It was all about international travel from a multicultural perspective. But also about expat life as a Black man living in Latin America. I was living in Colombia at the time. I started out writing about my day-to-day experiences living abroad, but then I moved into doing a bit more service writing, telling people how they could travel and writing posts that I thought were inspirational as well as educational, and just
Okay.
trying to encourage more people to travel internationally at the time. It was before this big surge in travel that happened, including the Black travel movement as a thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, people of color have been traveling forever, but it was with the advent of like Instagram coming around the same time as the Middle Eastern airlines were growing in size and were offering flights across the world for half the price of what you would have paid before. And
Right.
so, it was just kind of like this nexus of timing and travel and energy. And so I was kind of a forerunner to that in the storytelling space, if you will, with a few other people, you, Kerwin, and Onika Raymond, and Lola Akinmade, and Eric Prince, and a few other people. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of the first iteration of Fly Brother. And then briefly, I had a stint on a couple of Travel Channel shows when they were looking for more diverse storytellers to appear,
Okay.
but I wasn't like a headliner. I was one of many talking heads. And then
Yeah.
finally, I was I can't remember if I was still living in Brazil at the time, but a buddy of mine from college approached me and he said, "Hey man, me and my friends are involved in a small startup cable network, and we want you to do a travel show. You're a great storyteller. You've got amazing experiences. You've got a good voice. We feel like you do well."
Yeah.
And it wasn't a situation where they were able to pay me very much, but they felt like it was an opportunity to expand.
Okay.
And so I kind of uh, reached out to my network, and particularly my network in the travel industry, just because I'd been working as a journalist for a while, and was able to kind of pull some resources together to get the first season filmed. But
Hmm.
while we were filming, that small startup network went out of business. They went dark. And so
Right.
we ended up having a cart without a horse for a little while. And then we ended up becoming connected with public television. And that's how the show has found its way now to debuting this week.
All right, good deal. So, I know it's been a struggle for you to get, people's attention. Yeah. What was that like? I mean, you just walk in and go, "Hey, I have an idea for a show. Here it is. Let's go."
You know, sometimes it is that easy. If you are, it's all about conversation, right? It's all
Yeah,
about communication. And the right people will be, you know what, not even the right people. Many people will be aligned automatically. They'll be enrolled. They'll be attuned to the energy of the project. They'll feel like it's something that they can get behind. It speaks to them as adventurers, as storytellers themselves, as people who kind of live vicariously through the experiences of others,
yeah,
and they feel connected. And so those people are fewer, but they tend to be the most active in helping propel a project forward.
gotcha.
Then you've got other people that are a bit more challenging to enroll. And they're also the right people. I was gonna say that the right people are automatically aligned, but that's not necessarily so. The right people is everybody. And so some people you have to work a bit harder to get them to see the value in what you're doing.
Right.
And yeah, it may be easy to say, okay, well, if they don't see the value in what I'm doing, screw them. But that's not the world that we're living in.
Hmm.
Everybody deserves to understand the value of uh, of travel, of connection, of community. And it's a project that's much bigger than me. And so I, yes, it has been challenging at many moments to get people to companies and destinations and supporters on the same page. But again, it's just conversation. Sometimes you have one conversation and people are willing to support you in your efforts. Sometimes it takes 100 conversations and they still aren't willing. But
Right.
in those 100 conversations, you have gained so many other valuable skills. You learn the worth of the project that you're doing. You learn what you're willing to accept and not accept, and the value of your time.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
those are things that I learned from those challenging conversations where people were not engaged and not on board. So
Gotcha.
that said, like, it's definitely, it's a combination producers and entrepreneurs journey. And that means there's sometimes a lot of walls that have to be scaled,
Yeah.
but you become as nimble as Spider-Man, the more walls,
Well,
you know.
dude, I am glad that you scaled those walls and got that web going and got the show out there. And finally, we're gonna get a chance to see it from our living rooms. But so like, what is the show about? Like, what are we gonna expect in that first episode? Without giving it away, of course, right?
Sure, sure.
What's the format? What are we gonna look forward to?
Sure. So the show is about friendship and connection around the world.
Okay.
And in every episode is a half hour. I go visit a friend in a different place, a set of friends, not just one, but a set of friends. And those
Yeah.
friends bring me into their communities. They show me what they love about the place. And we show the audience the whole world is our tribe. In
Ah,
some of the episodes, there may be a person who I have known before and they're not from that place, but they happen to be in that place at that time. And so there's
okay.
also that. So there's a mix. Some of them are people who are from those locations. Others have lived there for a long time, and still others are visiting alongside me. But the idea is that we we know each other, we love each other. We've got history. Just it's funny because we're able to really be candid with each other and have a good time and make and you know have a little bit of fun with each other as we're hanging out, because that to me is the basis well, it's the most enjoyable aspect of travel for me. I know there are lots of people who prefer to travel because of the food or because of whatever other experiences they might have, or dancing or the beach, and all of those things are valid. For me,
Right.
it's the people that I meet, it's the connections that I make. that have me get on planes.
That
And
makes
that's what the show is about.
that's cool though, because I did I did get a preview of the show. What was it? Was it New York we were? At
Yes, we were in New York where we had a screening. That
Yeah,
is true.
yeah, we had a screen and it was really good. I like really wanted to see the rest of it, but Ernest is a good marketer, so he gave us like a little a little taste of it, for us to go. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, one of the things that I guess everyone should understand is that this didn't happen overnight.
No,
Um,
it did not.
yeah, I mean, Ernest, I hate the word hustling, but he really has been hustling, and we've had conversations, phone calls. I've seen him at travel shows, trying to pitch the show, and so it's a lot of work to get a show like this. So is this like, are you the first like black guy with a travel TV show?
No, I mean, obviously, what I remember was Dahani Jones with Dahani Tackles the World.
Okay,
I believe that was on the Travel Channel. I believe also Kamal Bell is
okay,
going around doing some travel, even though I don't think his show is um, explicitly travel,
right.
but it's a travel style show. There have been people in the past. I think it was called Grannies Who Travel, or the Traveling Grannies were two
Okay,
black women that traveled on. They had a show on public television.
yeah,
So I wouldn't be the first black person in history to have a travel show. Kelly Edwards, of course, with her show on the Travel
all the
Channel.
travel
Um,
channels, yeah, yeah,
Onika has done work for the Travel Channel, and I know she does a lot of digital things. Nathan Fluellen, he had a
yeah,
show on, I believe it was also on a digital channel. So, I'm in good company,
good,
but
good.
I do believe I'm the first black man to have a show on public television.
All right, there
And,
you go.
I think it also might be the global reach that I've got
Yeah.
as well. We filmed on 5 continents in 8 different countries, and that's also it's exciting because it took a lot to get there.
Yeah, that's cool because I'm let's see, Sao Paulo, Tbilisi, Toronto, Northern Namibia, Stockholm, Mumbai, Addis, and Tajikistan are the first few episodes we're going to see, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Those are the ones that made the cut at first. Um, and there's a lot that goes into why something doesn't necessarily make it into a season or even an episode.
Yeah. So how did you pick these countries? Is this your favorite places, or how did you do that?
Well, some of them are my favorite places. Some of them, particularly Sao Paulo and Stockholm, are 2 of my favorite cities in the world.
Yeah,
But I enjoy many aspects of many different places. So me saying that doesn't mean that I enjoy other places less.
of
But with
course.
with Sao Paulo and Stockholm particularly, I mean, I've got a large group of friends there that I've known for many years. Those are places that I can easily plug into, and places that I've got kind of a handle on what my life would be like. And it
Yeah,
doesn't mean that the places haven't changed, and it doesn't mean that I haven't changed. Um, quite the contrary. But those are places kind of like where you've got that. For me, I've got that home feeling, and the
exactly.
feeling of home means there's a familiarity that always is there. So that's
Yeah,
why I highlight Sao Paulo and Stockholm as 2 of my favorite cities, and it's also why they feature in season 1. But other places are in there because I love them. Tajikistan, I love. Mumbai, I
that
love
is,
very
yeah,
much. Addis, the culture, the people, Namibia, every place we went is
yeah,
interesting, engaging. I had not been to Toronto or Tbilisi before filming, but my friends who were there are passionate about that place, and that's how we choose where we go. It's where do I have friends, and I have friends everywhere, and it's not because I'm so likable. I've got friends everywhere. I've got friends everywhere because I've traveled a lot of places, and we've got the
Ah,
technology now to stay in touch, to stay in contact much more easily.
gotcha.
Before, you had to, like, if you met somebody, there was yeah, you could write a postcard or send them a letter, or spend $6 a minute on a long distance phone call.
Exactly.
But now everybody's in your WhatsApp list, and that's amazing. And so I just have been lucky enough to maintain those relationships. I've been blessed with, I don't know what it is, a combination of natural curiosity and vulnerability with
Uh-huh.
the fact that my parents raised me to speak to people. I mean, I was knocked in the back of the head when I didn't open my mouth to, Deaconess Jonathan Young when we were growing up at church, you know? And those kinds of very old school values were
Yeah.
inculcated in me at a young age. And my parents, they didn't play that whole like acting like you can't open your mouth thing. But that's what helped me be able to, well, one, I can go clearly, just, I can talk. But
Ernest the talker. That's very true. But Ernest, I think that's what I like about you. I mean, when I first met you, you have this, you enunciate your words. You have a warm personality, and I see a lot of that in the show, at least at the parts of it that I've watched. And I think that is what people are really gonna enjoy about it. And you talk about your parents. I grew up with my grandmother, and she really instilled a lot of what you're talking about in me. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
thank
Um,
you. Yeah. And I do appreciate that foundation,
oh yeah,
as a Black American Southerner. I grew up in an environment that was very segregated,
yeah,
and also that was highly educated. My parents were teachers. All their friends were teachers or other professionals. And um, again, like my mother's 81, my dad's 73. I'm
yeah.
42.
Uh-huh.
But the just that old school style of engagement, of community
Exactly.
building, it, it it never mattered to them how people looked, you
Got you.
know and it's so and that was the guiding force for me going out into the world and basically emulating the behavior that was modeled for me.
Which is awesome. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida.
Ah, there you go. I
Yeah.
went to school in Daytona Beach, so not too far from Jacksonville.
Oh, where'd you go? BC,
Uh,
C,
no, I
Emory,
went
Emory River?
between Embry-Riddle. I went to Embry-Riddle because nobody goes to Daytona unless you go for Daytona 500 race
Yeah.
week, bike week, or you go to Bethune-Cookman. You go to Embry-Riddle.
Right. You're right. Or spring break,
Spring break, yeah, yeah.
but you're
Oh my
right.
God, that's too funny. So you've got we've got what, eight? Is it 8 episodes coming up? Is it every week? When does it start? I have so many questions for you. When did it start?
Sure, no problem. It is 8 episodes for now.
Uh-huh.
8 episodes. And it is weekly.
Okay.
But what we've got are a cascade of starting dates based on the fact that public television stations program their own shows based on their needs, you
Okay.
know. And so we have an entire roster of cities that you can see at flybrother.net to that come out every week. We add
Okay.
to the cities every week where they come on board and decide that they are able to broadcast the show. Check your local listings is what we definitely can say, because even when those dates get announced, sometimes the schedule changes for whatever reason, and we never know what that's going to be. So the checking your local listings is the important way to kind of find out where the show is going to air and when. And we do know that it will also air nationally on Create TV, the cable network,
Oh,
in
okay.
midsummer. Yeah,
Good.
we don't have the exact date yet, but we know that they love the show and are ready to program it when in a few more weeks. So
Ah, good deal. So then, if I, I don't understand how PBS works, so
no worries.
thank you for telling me that. Can you go online like pbs.org and like watch it, or you have to watch it on a TV?
At the moment, you have to watch it on a TV, old school style. But
Okay.
if you're in the viewing area, you don't even have to have cable. You can have antennas with or without aluminum foil, and you can still see.
Ernest, you're
You
not that old.
can,
You're talking about aluminum foil on your TV, but I know
man,
exactly what you're talking about.
look here. I'm old enough.
Well, in Jamaica, we had rabbit ears, and you used to have to go adjust the rabbit ears so you can get
Yeah,
the signal.
for all of that.
Oh my
We had a
God, that's too
Brotherhood,
fun.
like, what do they call it? It was a piece of furniture. I forgot what they called the whole thing, console or whatever, that had the TV and a record player and an 8-track player
Yeah,
inside the top of it.
yep.
That I
My,
also believe we got from a rent-to-own place.
oh my God. It's kind of funny when you grow up with not a lot, you appreciate it so much more.
Sure, definitely, definitely.
I can certainly understand some of the stuff you're talking about. So, I know this is costly for you, right? So,
Mm.
how can people help? Because we've had conversation about financing. I mean, how do you finance all this?
We have several ways that people can participate with the financing.
Okay.
We, work with um, folks who'd like to come on board as sponsors, and they can have what they call a sponsorship pod, which is it's a special section of the show at the top and the bottom of the show where they are able to put their logo or have a little bit of have a blurb about what they offer. So that's one way of supporting it. And another way is a charitable contribution,
Okay.
because our presenting station, Northern California Public Media, operates as a nonprofit entity.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
another charitable contributions, which are tax deductible. Of course, you're supporting public television.
Hmm.
And you could write, on that contribution, you'd like to be supporting Fly Brother in that way. And then there's also opportunities for investment in our transformational lifestyle brand. We are helping people transform their lives through friendship and connection.
Hmm.
And we're creating a membership community where people can join and connect with people all around the world on many different levels and across different interests, and set themselves up for the opportunity to travel. When we are traveling again, they'll be able to come with me on network building experiences to create their own networks of friends and business partners and lovers, relationships, whatever. We're all about building global community. And so that's an opportunity for people as well, both companies and individuals that want to invest in that community that we're building. And this is the time to do it because, again, no one is able to travel right now, but everybody
Right.
wants to connect. And the thing is, we're already connected. If we
Yeah.
weren't, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely right.
But we're, for better or worse, we're here together. And the sooner people realize that, the better off we'll all be. And when I say we,
Yeah.
I'm talking about humans, animals, plants, the environment, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, just there's ways. If you reach out to me either by email at Ernest, ERNEST, at flybrother.net,
Good.
we can start a conversation and find out how people can participate and partner with us to help us bring this community to life and continue growing.
All right, good deal. Yeah, I'm gonna I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
put I'm gonna put some stuff in the show notes about that because I know that they you see these nice shows on TV, but they cost a lot to make.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
People don't realize that I've got a staff of people. I've got a production team. I've got marketing people. I've got to pay myself so I can eat.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
there's also just paying for trips,
Right.
equipment, and
Yeah.
everything that goes into it. It really is creating a business for yourself. You're your own boss, and it is amazing and it's phenomenal, and it does cost money, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
good deal. Yes, I'll
Teamwork
definitely.
makes the dream work.
Yep, I'll definitely put some stuff in there so people can contribute if they feel so desired. One of the cool things I like about the cities that you've chosen is they're not the run of the mill cities. Um, so people will get a really good flavor of, you can travel to different parts of the world. I mean, probably the most famous, even Stockholm, like, a lot of people don't really go to Stockholm. Um,
That's correct. You're right.
yeah, but it's an amazingly beautiful city. So I'm really looking forward to. And I haven't been to. Is it Tbilisi? Is that how you pronounce it properly?
Tbilisi.
Tbilisi, which
Yes,
I really want to go check out. That's Georgia, right? The other
it
Georgia.
is. It's in Georgia, not Georgia. It's in Georgia.
When I went to the
And
New York Times travel show, somebody had a sign because they were there and they're like, it's not the one in the South. I think.
exactly. And there's nothing wrong with our southern Georgia. I am from right next door, but the destinations that we go to,
Yeah.
like you said, in Stockholm has some tourism. Even Tbilisi has some tourism. Ethiopia definitely, and Namibia.
Yep.
Um, but I am drawn to places that are a little bit less touristy, mostly because I feel like you can get in deeper. You can have a deeper
You
relationship with
can.
some of these places.
Yeah.
I have a deeper relationship with Madrid than with Barcelona, for example. I have a
Same
deeper
here.
relationship with Sao Paulo than with Rio de Janeiro. And it doesn't mean, again, that those places are not enjoyable to me. It
Yeah.
just means that it's they're places where you've got a lot more day-to-day interaction with people that are not working in the service sector so much
Correct.
because they're not touristy places.
Yeah.
And I'm also in the business of narrative change. I'm in the business of making sure that places and people who heretofore have not had their voices heard get an opportunity to tell their stories.
That's true.
People don't know anything about Tajikistan. People don't know anything about even Sao Paulo. There are plenty of Brazilians that I would have conversations with, especially from Sao Paulo itself, where
Yeah.
they would be like, "Oh, it's so boring here, this and that and the other." But it's because they were always jetting off to Rio or Miami or New York,
Yeah.
and they didn't give their own backyard the opportunity to show what it's got. And so that's where I feel is part of my role as a storyteller, is to find the unexpected stories, even in a place like Paris or Tokyo, where we will be filming going forward. There are so many stories that are still untold in those places too. So
Yeah, and you know what it is, sir, and it's because most people they don't get off the main street, um,
right.
and they don't like people say, how can you figure out a place by just going to the airport? And I say to them, I go, well, the people who live in the communities work at the airport. And
Yes.
so if you just talk to people, you can find out what's going. Because usually when I go somewhere, I'm like, okay, great. So tell me one thing I can go do in your town. Because I'll talk to people at the airport, I'll talk to the flight attendants on the plane, and people will tell you stuff if you ask nicely. And
Right.
you don't necessarily have to go. Like everybody wants to see the Eiffel Tower, fine, but there are some really cool streets like just around the corner from the Eiffel Tower
Yes.
that have never been explored. um,
Yes.
and so I think that and the good thing about I love Americans don't go to the places that you have on your list. Yeah, probably Toronto is probably the one that most people would have gone to just because it's right there. um, but although the people who go to Toronto are the ones who live in like New York or something like that, because
Right.
it's closer and you can drive. Um, I actually drove to New York when I got my first car. The New York State Through is an amazing piece of road, and so I drove, it was like 8.5 hours or something like that.
Mm.
I drove up to Toronto, which was actually good. but it's good. I'm really glad that you picked these cities. I think people are going to really love the show. So one thing I wanted to ask you too, let me just switch my little question here. So, what advice do you have for other young Black men who want to basically be like Ernest and have your own TV show?
Well, okay. See, I don't know about all that, but I will say,
Dude, you've arrived. I mean, come on, you've arrived.
there's still so much work to do. So I'll say this: one, for every experience in life, it's be vulnerable, be permeable, be flexible, be adaptable, and that's not always easy. You know, we often operate from a place of trauma and fear of the unknown, mostly, where we are not as open to new experiences or people as we could and should be. And so that's one of the things that I feel like is paramount to getting out into the world, is having those kind of preset foundational behaviors, if you will. And part of it too is by doing it, by traveling. And I know we're at a time when we don't know what travel is going to look like, right? It would be easier for me to answer this question 6 months ago, because then I could say, get out there, travel, do it. But now it's like, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. But as I mentioned earlier, just because we're not able to travel physically doesn't mean that we still can't connect with people. Exactly. We can go online. We can engage with communities of people in countries that we're interested in. And we can start learning languages that we have always found interesting, but never had the courage to start learning. So it's all of those things. It does require you to choose differently. You know, it requires you to choose the thing that makes you uncomfortable. And so the more you get in the habit of doing that, and I mean do it reasonably. I don't mean just, you know, run out in the street not paying attention. You know, it's making sure that you are being street smart in your engagement with other people, even if it is digitally. But at the same time, it's recognizing that everybody wants the same thing in life. Again, to be seen, to be empowered, to be loved. And if you go with that attitude, you'll be able to maximize your experiences. You'll be able to connect with people who will then be willing to connect you with other people, and on and on and on. And that's kind of how you start to build that framework, that cosmos, if you will. So then once you start doing that, finding a camera crew, finding editors, finding people to work on the technical side becomes easy. You know, that's actually the easiest part. The hardest part for me would have been trying to build everything I've been able to build over 20 years in like 2 years. You know, trying to authenticity comes in to play. Up one day and like you're a social media sensation and you've got videos and this and that and the other. If it happens that way for you, great, that's amazing. But there's still a lot that comes along with life experience and with preparation. And so part of it too is just recognizing that you're always at the right moment in your journey. There's no need to try and rush anything. And if things happen quickly, wonderful, amen, it's for you. If things don't happen quickly, wonderful, amen, it's for you. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It does.
Okay.
No, it really does.
That was all over the place, man.
That was good. Well, you know, I mean, come on, it's Ernest. I didn't expect like a really short answer, right? I expected something like what you just did. So thank you for that.
And you know what? I appreciate that you know that about me.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. It's good. All right, so we've covered quite a bit of topics, and I have one more question for you. When do you start your next season, or start filming the next season?
Man, we were all set to start filming in Tokyo back in April. Back in April. It's still April,
It's
huh?
still April.
Aren't the longest months ever?
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
supposed to be filming April 6th during the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you know, things got canceled, so that was unfortunate, but it is what it is. And we are not just hanging out. I mean, we're in talks with destinations, and we want to make sure that we're able to travel as soon as it is safely possible.
right.
And part of that too is that we're traveling sustainably.
Good.
That, and I think that's something an important thing to bring up in every conversation I have with people about travel. Before,
Yeah,
we were not traveling sustainably. You know, we were ravaging the environment, we were ravaging cultures and people's economies. And now we really have to slow down. We have to make sure that we are protective of not only our physical environment, but that of others as well.
yeah,
And I feel like that will change the scope of travel, but it won't change the fact that people still want to connect with each other.
correct.
And so when it comes to filming season 2, we're excited to get out there. We just have no clue where that's going to be yet.
Right. Which makes sense. Travel has definitely changed, and I see a lot of stuff going on, but from someone in the travel space, um, I don't think we're ready yet. Because the airlines are opening up, which is good, but one, people still want cheap fares, and you can't. It's difficult to give you a cheap fare when I have to sell the seat next to you empty. And so,
Right.
you kind of want to say, are you as a customer willing to pay for half of the price of that seat to be empty for your own safety? Or do you just care that you're gonna get it, you're gonna go to London for $100 and you're excited about it?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, you as someone who understands the airline industry, you're in a better position to understand the bigger picture than a lot of people that I see in some of these travel forums online, just talking about how, oh yeah, it's going to be cheap to travel. No, it won't be.
it won't be.
Airlines are shrinking their
It won't
footprint.
be.
Some are going out of business.
Yep.
Fares are going up,
Yeah.
you
It won't be
know,
cheap.
period. Not at all. And, you know, obviously I want people to be able to go and travel, but
Right.
we'll have to find other ways, and we'll have to be a bit more centered in our geographic zones for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and it is what it is, man. It
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
mean there's not wonder to behold in our own backyard.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just saw that a site discovered in Houston.net, and some people have no idea how beautiful Houston is. I take pictures and they're like, "Where's that?" And they've lived there all their lives.
Mm,
So yeah, and as the cities start opening up and the local places start opening up, people are going to start discovering their own backyards, which is really good.
exactly. But
Yeah,
as you say, as cities start opening back up, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we still don't have a handle on un, we still don't have a handle on COVID-19. No one
no,
knows
we don't. We're not there.
definitively about asymptomatic carriers,
Yeah,
and whether or not it can resurge in people or return to people who have already had it. And that, I feel like, is going to keep us um, in place
yeah,
for longer than maybe we'd like, but who knows? None of us know. And
yeah,
so
exactly.
that's both exciting and exhausting.
So maybe the first episode will be San Francisco then.
That could be true. It'll be a desolate place, but there's some nice parks that we can go to. We can get our takeout and go to the park and, you know, stand 6 feet away from one another.
Exactly. Wouldn't it be a fun TV show though?
No, it would not be a fun TV show. That sounds incredibly nerve-wracking to me.
Come on, oh come on, Ernest. If anyone can handle it, you can.
Oh, maybe. You're right.
It's good. Well, folks, I've had such a good time talking with Ernest, and you know, it's so whenever I meet Ernest, and we like the last time we saw, we were like in the same city in San Francisco. We didn't get a chance to see each other because we were just
Yeah.
busy doing stuff. Um, but we always, you know, we always try to connect and we always say hello to each other, so that's always good. Ernest, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know you're trying to get the shows together. So May 1st is the first day, right?
Yes, May 1st, if you're in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, Twin
Okay.
Cities, Minneapolis. That is,
Yes.
I believe it's TPT, which is Twin Cities Public Television,
Okay.
Life, TPT Life, which
Okay.
the call letters are KTCI. That's May 1st. And they're set to screen the first episode 3 times that day.
Oh, cool.
I
Okay.
believe it's in the morning, the afternoon, and at midnight. So again, check your local listings.
All
And
right. Cool.
then on May 2nd in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's KQED in San Francisco and Oakland. It's KQEH down in San Jose. Do you know the way? Yes.
I know. I
And
love that song.
so we that's exciting too. But you know, Kerwin, I'm meeting a lot of people from San Jose under a certain age. They don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
How did they not know Dion? Come on.
Because they're 20, but you know, it's all right, man. We love you.
I know, that's
But
too
and
funny.
yeah. So yeah, and then we've got like again another rack of cities coming along down the pike. May
All right.
4th, for example, is Marquette, Michigan, and South Bend, Indiana, Notre
Okay.
Dame. Then on May 5th, it's like the entire state of South Carolina,
Good.
including the Rock Hill public television station, which carries over into the Charlotte area.
Okay.
So Charlotte, North Carolina, you guys can catch the show on the Rock Hill public television station. So you know and there are more cities. Again, flybrother.net is where
Okay.
you can get information on the show. We keep it up to date as much as we can. You can also join our membership community there. You can sign up for updates through the website. And also you can email me again at ernestbrother.net. That's EREST at flybrother.net to find out, contribute, as well as invest in the Fly Brother movement.
Great. Ernest, thank you so much. You're like a master marketer. I mean, you're a traveler, you're an executive producer, you're the marketer. Man, you're the guy.
Well, thank you, man. I have had to learn a lot, and much of it
Yeah.
against my will. But I just wanted to thank you, Kerwin, very much for having always been kind of like the godfather to the travel blogging movement. Like you have always been this kind of calm, wise presence at all the T-Bexes, and you just, you've been a leader for a while, and I just always am appreciative of the fact that I can go to places where I'm not expecting to see a travel journalist, and you're there. Like the
Thank you.
consumer electronics show in Las Vegas, like that. There weren't many of us there, but the
No,
fact
there
that
weren't.
you were there,
Yeah.
you be known. And so I really appreciate that, and that you've always been supportive. So thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation and to share with your audience.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Ernest, and thank you for taking the time out. Good luck. Good luck with everything. And everyone, that's it from Ernest with the show Fly Brother. And I'm going to have a list of all the where you can find it in the show notes and stuff like that. So thank you guys very much, and Ernest, have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. You too, man. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
All righty, cool.